Hello, and welcome to Horror Movies and Shit. I'm your host, Jim, and with me as always is...
Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Jim.
How was Vegas?
Ah. So, did I tell you about the $20 sandwich before?
Yes, I've heard that story, but please regale our listeners with
Okay, so
this
so the
reimagining.
the, the Vegas $20 sandwich, right? So whenever you're checking in, you slip a 20 in between your credit card and your ID, and you wink, is there any free upgrades? So we were staying at the Cosmopolitan, which is a beautiful hotel, by the way, and so I figured in inflation, so I did a $30 sandwich. So the woman was very nice, and I'm like, I'm here with my wife. It's our anniversary. It wasn't really. It's close to our anniversary, but it really wasn't our anniversary. I'm like, is there any free upgrades you can give me? And she's like, oh, okay. And there's always that bit of nerves, right? Because it feels like you're bribing somebody, and they might turn around and say, "What are you doing, handing me this money?" But no, I was in Vegas. We did it the last time we went. It worked, so this time it worked too. So we had initially just had like a single bedroom king suite with a balcony.
Okay.
So they upgraded us to the next one up, which was like a one bedroom. So it was a bigger. It's got really nice lounge area. Again, it's got a balcony, and they waived the check-in, early check-in, because we got in at like 8 in the morning. So the early check-in by itself is $50.
Oh,
And to get that room above the one that we booked, it's probably $80 or $90 a night, and we stayed for 3 nights. So you're looking at about $300 worth from a $30 sandwich.
wow.
So we did some good eating on that sandwich. But it was very nice. It was the first time I've been in Vegas in the summer.
Yeah.
And of course, there's a heat wave going on right now.
Indeed.
So every day was between 110 and 115 during the day, and then around 90 at night.
How did you find the heat, Mark?
So I love the heat, Jim.
With you?
I love the heat. I love the heat in Florida. And I was like, I wonder what it's going to be like, because it's a dry heat, man.
The dry heat.
My Aliens reference. I actually found that 115 degrees, and we went out into the desert area too. It's not that hot compared to like a 95 full humidity heat in Florida. I thought it was way more comfortable. Now,
so
when
the humidity you don't like, not the heat.
No, I do like the humidity too, but I'm just saying in general comfort. Like I was picturing 115 degrees to be even a little bit too much for me, who loves the heat. But it was perfectly fine.
Huh.
I thought it was perfectly fine.
Okay.
Of course, when we were there were stories about person died just before we went in Death Valley. We were thinking about going to Death Valley, but it's 2 hours away, so that's a little bit too far. And then there was 2 places we were going to go. We went to Red Rock Canyon one of the days. We hired a car. But another place we were going to go was a place called Valley of Fire, which is similar. It was just a little bit farther away. And I guess 2 people died there.
Wow.
All through for heat related.
Yeah.
And I will say, if you got yourself stuck there, there's no shade, and you're just sitting in that heat. Which, yeah.
How do you think the fish feel in 100-degree water off of Key West?
There's 100-degree water here in Tampa.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I heard about it down in Key West. I didn't hear about it in Tampa.
I think I heard that it was local here for us too. So. Which is weird. Our pool's not that warm. My pool right now is like 86 degrees.
Ew.
But it's not too bad.
Ew, that's gross.
So that was my trip to Vegas. Have you been to Vegas before?
I have not. No.
So the room that we got had a balcony. So most, I don't know why, but most, like 90% of all the hotels there don't have balconies. I don't know why. It's strange. But it overlooks the strip.
Okay.
And where our hotel, Cosmopolitan, is right beside the Bellagio, where it's very, very famous fountains and Caesar's Palace.
Yeah, I've believe it or not, Ray has a friend who does all the topiary at the Bellagio.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah.
But so there, it's funny because there are a lot of homeless there,
Okay.
but it's weird because they're all like screaming and loud and yelling. It's like there's homeless here too, but like in Vegas, they're like yelling and yelling and yelling. What's
Well, you have to think about it. Are they homeless because they came to Vegas, or were they always homeless and just happened to be in Vegas?
Yeah, who knows? You go to Vegas,
I might be screaming if I went there and I was homeless all of a sudden.
but we were walking we were walking into like a kind of strip mall thing. There was a guy in a wheelchair. He was probably in his 30s or early 40s, and he was just like spinning around and around, just screaming at the top of his voice. And there was a security guard there just watching him because I don't know, maybe they kicked him out or whatever. It's just like, what's going on? But Jim, I did not win the jackpot, so I do have to go back to work. So
Okay.
that's the unfortunate part of it.
And now we're here.
And now we're here. So Jim, I believe you were in my neck of the woods recently.
I was.
And do you care to tell both of our listeners what you were doing?
Well, I was with our friend Nancy, who you met at Spooky.
Yep.
Her family and my family went to SharkCon over at the fairgrounds in Tampa.
And I work literally 5 minutes from there.
Well, you work from home, so
no, I only 3 days of the week.
Okay.
So you could have went and visited my work if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you had other priorities to.
Oh, I will say after SharkCon, we decided to go to Ford's, which is a hamburger joint.
Mm-hmm.
So much fun, like so kitschy. It was awesome. The food was good.
Is it like the Ford's vehicle place?
Yes.
Yeah. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the spirit of that, Jim.
Yes. Wait! Before you start that, you do know what week it is, do you not?
It is the end of July week.
It is the end of. It's coming up on the end of Shark Week. Today marks the end of Shark Week.
So I have thoughts about Shark Week. I used to watch it a little bit. I always feel like they just really demonize sharks a lot on that show.
So I don't feel that way. I will tell you what I do. The reason I do. So I think National Geographic demonizes sharks more than Discovery does, because Discovery will use these catchy, blood in the water shit. I survived a shark attack, but as to get people to watch. But when you actually watch the program itself, it is all about education, and these people do not harbor any ill feelings towards a shark. Yes, what they went through was horrific, but they use it as a chance to educate people.
Yeah, I mean, even just with the titles, I mean, whenever I watched it, it was probably a few years ago, it was a lot of this shark attack, that shark attack, shark attack, shark attack, shark attack.
And that's what Nat Geo is in right now. And they do that a whole month.
And they might sprinkle in a little bit of, oh yeah, we were in their environment and stuff, but I'm like, it's still the sensationalist.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Attack stuff. So
in that spirit,
and obviously, and because I like to steal things. I don't know. You don't watch YouTube that much, do you?
No, not so much.
Okay, so there's a channel called Red Letter Media who do a lot of like movie reviews and stuff.
Okay,
and they basically it was just an episode of one of the guys reading off a whole bunch of shark titles and
Okay.
how ridiculous they are. So I thought, okay, well, let's steal that because I don't have any imagination.
Okay.
So I have a list. I don't think we'll get through all of these, but I think because there's over 180 of them.
Oh my.
But we can skip a lot of them. But I just want to kind of go through them, and then as things come up, we might want to talk about the
I would like to ask you. I would like to ask you if there are two movies on this list that I have not seen, but I have always wanted to:
Mm-hmm.
Ghost Shark
Yep.
and Avalanche Sharks.
I came up with an idea. This is when I was working my job, coming up with like sci-fi titles,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought about Tarantula Avalanche. It was an avalanche, but they're tarantulas.
Tarantulanche, if you will.
Tarantula Avalanche.
Tarantulanche. Let's get it right.
Tarantulanche.
Otherwise, it's two words. You have to make it one catchy word.
No,
Like
it is one
shark-
word.
Like Sharktopus.
I can't say it now. Tarantula Avalanche.
No, it's Tarantulanche.
Tarantulanche.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, that works. That works. Okay, can we copyright that now?
Yes, absolutely. TM. TM.
But then they came up with something that was similar to that. It was some other avalanche thing.
Okay.
So fuck them. Okay, so this is somebody that's made a list on IMDb. So
Okay.
all right. So the first 6 are all Sharknado ones.
Okay. Well, I've seen 3 of them.
You haven't seen Sharknado, the last Sharknado. It's about.
No, I have not. I've seen.
I've seen a couple of these, and I will say this about.
Which one was Hell No?
That was 3.
Yep, that's the last one I saw.
Again, I think that trying to make bad movies generally doesn't work.
I will say the kitsch was good up until the 3rd one, and then it got boring.
Yeah, I mean,
But I do have to say that tying this into this Shark Con that I've been to 6 years in a row now with my niece. The first year we went, Ian Ziering was there because one of the Sharknadoes was big,
Yeah.
and that man can still fill out a pair of jeans. Mm-hmm. Anyway, go on.
I don't know what that means.
You never saw Beverly Hills 90210. I doubt that.
No.
Oh, that's right. You were probably still in the UK then.
Yeah, but they had it, but I didn't watch it. Why would I watch that shit?
Everybody in the 90s watched that shit.
No, I just watch horror movies.
Okay.
Okay. 2-headed shark attack, 3-headed shark attack, 5-headed shark attack, and then 6-headed shark attack. Now, I don't know if they just
The
missed
six-headed-
out 4-headed shark attack or whether they never made it.
Either 5 or 6 was atomic. Had an atomic motif around it.
Well, how did the first one?
I think it was 5-headed shark attack was the
So
one.
2-headed shark attack has obviously a mutated
Right.
2-headed shark. So I wonder if it started then. That's how they became
It's
mutated.
possible, but one of the sharks had something atomic having to do with them, and I've seen that one.
Carmen Electra stars in 2-headed shark attack.
Yeah, I don't know if I can't say I've seen that one.
So 3-headed shark attack has Rob Van Dam, I guess the wrestler, right?
Right.
Danny Trejo. I wonder if he killed it with a machete. I don't know.
Probably.
Okay, so I mean, stupid. Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus,
I've seen that one.
and out of 10,
That's a solid. Sci-fi was just coming out of its heyday then, so that's going to be a solid 5 because it was the giant octopus was terrible.
so this has Debbie Gibson in it. I remember
Yes.
there was one that had Tiffany and Debbie Gibson in
Yes.
it. I don't know if it was this one or a different sci-fi movie.
I don't remember if it was that one or if it was the Sharktopus one.
Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus.
I have not seen that one.
A megalodon battles with a Crocosaurus.
Ooh, that could be fun.
Um, and we'll maybe talk about the Meg movies at some point, especially this new.
Well, especially considering that number 2 comes out next week.
Jason Statham.
Mm,
And I punch a Meg in the face.
that's right. He actually. Go ahead. We'll talk about it later.
Mega Shark versus Mecha Shark.
I started that one and got bored 5 minutes in, so I don't know how it turned out.
So this one really, brings to mind Godzilla versus
Mecha Godzilla. Yeah, that's exactly what it was supposed to be setting up for.
Mega Shark versus Colossus.
Mm-mm.
Of course, this is the normal plot of a movie where, in search of a new energy source, Russia accidentally reawakens a Colossus, a giant robot doomsday device from the Cold War.
Huh.
At the same time, the new Mega Shark appears, threatening global security. So that's a political thriller.
On a separate note, do you think that the Cold War has now become to society what Nazi Germany was to us growing up in horror movies?
Not really.
You think so?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of, So what do you mean by that, maybe? I should ask you.
So, we had a lot of the Nazi exploitation movies.
Right.
When we were younger, like they were not just in horror, but in general, right?
The Wolf of the,
all that kind of stuff. So, do you think that the Cold War will now become the basis for those types of indie horror movies, as opposed to old school Nazism or World War II, like when we were young?
I don't think so, because the Cold War is all about espionage.
Okay.
There wasn't any major battles or people being put into camps or anything. So I don't think so.
That's true. Okay.
I think the Cold War is much more. You look at. I know the writer said it wasn't about Cold War communism or anything like Invasion of the Body Snatchers and this type of Reds under the bed type of stuff. But and we can come on to that as far as what we've watched, because I just finished Secret Invasion.
I'll be interested to hear what that's like. I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I mean it's very much that, but it always would be, because it's about people who can shapeshift. So, okay, where were we? 1999. Casper Van Dien.
Always magnificent in everything he does.
Shark Attack.
I don't think I've seen that one.
I've seen it, but I don't remember anything about it. I was going to maybe go to Tampa Bay Comic Con this weekend, and he's going to be there. And I guess his daughter is there, she was in Stranger Things.
I don't know who his daughter is.
Somebody Van Dien. Somebody Van Dien. I guess she played like a cheerleader in season 3 or something.
Interesting.
Shark Attack 2.
I have not seen that one either.
Of course, the one that everybody remembers is Shark Attack 3 Megalodon.
Oh, of course.
And that one is just hilarious.
Yeah?
That one really is, and that one's hard to tell, did they want to make it so bad, or were they couldn't figure out how to do stuff, but they still need to make a movie? I don't know. Shark Attack in the Mediterranean.
Are they not supposed to have sharks in the Mediterranean? I don't understand the question.
There are sharks in the Mediterranean.
I was being facetious, sir.
Are there any sharks around Great Britain?
I would imagine, yes.
The only sharks around where I grew up were basking sharks.
Really? I guess that makes sense given the temperature of the water, maybe.
Yeah, there's no sharks that would actually bite you or eat you.
Just swallow you.
Yeah. Sharktopus versus Terracuda.
I'm sorry, what?
An American scientist creates a half pterodactyl, half barracuda creature, Terracuda, which inevitably escapes, leaving the sharktopus to stop it.
I mean, what could go wrong crossing a pterodactyl and a barracuda?
I
What would
mean,
that even look like?
if well, you have to watch the movie to find out.
Clearly, this is a masterpiece I've missed.
I mean, it's got a highly rated 3.3 out of 10,
Oh wow.
which is actually quite high for this list. Ozark sharks.
Ozark sharks. Hmm. Huh. Okay. I have nothing on that one. Nothing.
A vacation to the Ozarks turns upside down when bull sharks somehow infiltrate Arkansas's freshwater lakes and wreak havoc on the town's big firework festival.
Oh well, I mean, I guess at least that's believable if they had some sort of if they could come up with some believable route that the sharks would take.
Yeah, up a river.
Yeah. I mean, because bull sharks are the only shark that can live in fresh or salt water.
Right. I don't know if they're the only one, but they're definitely the only.
No, they are the only ones.
They're only dangerous one.
Well, I mean,
Because
if they're not dangerous, who cares?
exactly. Okay, so the next one, I probably have to watch this one. Um, I'll just give you the synopsis
Okay.
of this documentary.
Okay.
Deep in the ice of the Antarctic, a team of geologists uncover an old Nazi laboratory, still intact where dark experiments had occurred. In order to conquer the world, the Nazis created modified sharks who are able to fly.
No. Oh.
Sharks. You want to see that?
What
Holy
is
shit, Tony Todd's in it.
it? Is that avalanche sharks? What is that?
Sky Sharks.
Oh my god, I gotta see that. I have to see it.
Tony Todd's in it.
I have to see it.
It's 2020.
Oh, I need to see that one bad.
From the sand, or from sky to sand sharks.
Sand sharks. Hmm. No, I have not seen it. I don't want to see it.
Go Shark, as we talked about.
Have seen it.
But have you seen Go Shark 2 Urban Jaws?
I have not. I will tell you my favorite part of Ghost Shark was when the shark attacked somebody out of a toilet.
I mean, with that and the ghoulies, you might as well not go to the bathroom anymore.
Exactly. And then there's the Bikini Beach Babe Commandos with that radioactive shark that comes out of the toilet.
It's a dangerous thing to have
It
to,
is.
to have to drop a deuce nowadays.
It really is.
Swamp Shark.
I have not seen Swamp Shark.
Avalanche Sharks.
I think we've discussed this one ad nauseum, haven't we?
It tells a story of a bikini contest that turns into a horrifying affair when it's hit by a shark avalanche.
Shark avalanche.
I hate it when that happens.
I hate it when avalanche. Oh my god. Yeah.
This is maybe going to be rivaling like the DCEU or the MCU. This is 2011 Super Shark.
Ooh, Super Shark.
Does
he wear a cape and have an emblem?
So what's going on with it? This is very strange. An offshore drilling accident releases a giant primordial shark, threatening to turn a bikini contest into a bloodbath.
Bikini contests seem very prevalent in these.
Yeah, I have to stay away from those bikini contests.
Yeah, I think that's the common denominator. Bikini contests cause shark attacks. People, wake up.
Yeah, yeah. When are they going to show that in Shark Week? Ice sharks.
Ice sharks?
Yeah.
How are they different from avalanche sharks?
Well, there's no bikini contest in this one. As far as synopsis.
That breaks our whole theory, Mark. We can't talk about this. This breaks our theory.
Planet of the Sharks.
Are there bikinis?
Doesn't say so so I'm just looking at the short synopsis, so I'm just going to assume most of them have bikini contests in them, but maybe they're just listed.
Well, we'll just say there are bikinis if there aren't. That's what the media does nowadays, right?
But I will talk about anyone that has bikini contests in the synopsis going forward. Mm-hmm. Toxic Shark.
I have not seen Toxic Shark.
That's whenever they're just like bad news, right? I mean, they just
Are those the sharks that do gaslighting and stuff?
yeah, they just demean you, they just
Okay.
gaslight you, revisionist history shark, you might as
Oh
well
damn
say.
it! I hate those sharks.
Um, but maybe this is a little bit of a crossover with the Alien universe. A
Xenoshark.
tropical singles retreat takes a terrifying turn when guests realize a poisonous shark is infesting the surrounding water. Not only will it rip apart its victims, but it also uses projectile acid to hunt in and out of the water.
What is the name of this movie?
Toxic shark.
I've seen this one. I have seen this movie,
And
and
do you,
it's every bit as glorious as it sounds.
so you probably give it like a 9.5 out of 10.
I'm probably a 2.5. That was terrible. It was terrible.
Damn sharks.
What shark? Damn sharks?
Yes. But not damn in the curse word.
Oh, damn as in they live by the dam.
No. Jim. Voracious sharks use human bodies to build dams.
So shouldn't it be called beaver sharks? Because beavers build
Now
dams.
now we're talking about the bikini contest again.
Oh, oh my god. I, I just I just picture the sharks dropping them and hitting them with their tails. That's oh my god.
Oh, they're so cute.
Yeah.
Atomic shark.
I have seen that one. I have seen that one. It's terrible.
So this next one, I think I did see it during the Shark Week, one of the ones that I watched, which is 12 Days of Terror.
Okay. Oh,
Yep.
is this the one about the what is it, Minneapolis?
No,
Minneapolis?
no, no. This is about where Benchley got kind of his idea for Jaws.
Right.
Uh,
No, was it the Indianapolis?
no,
What was
no,
the name of
no,
the ship?
no. He got his idea for Jaws from these bull sharks that went up in
Oh,
New Jersey River.
yeah, yeah,
And
into the New Jersey River. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it was pretty good.
Yeah, that was not bad.
You probably like this next one, 90210 Shark Attack.
Where in Beverly Hills are we attacking?
Students encounter a haunted shark tooth. Oh, it's a David Cocteau movie. There's probably lots of boobs in there.
I'm sure.
The next one, I actually bought and watched it in 3D because I had a 3D TV,
Oh.
which is the Australian movie Bait.
So, is this the one where they're trapped in a structure like a mall or a parking
Yep.
garage or something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen this one. That was really good.
Yep.
I liked it a lot. Yeah.
Enjoyed that one. The next one I have seen, but I don't remember much about it. It's Blue Demon
Blue Demon.
with Dee Dee Pfeiffer.
I do not. I don't
Yeah.
think I know that one.
Yeah, obviously forgettable. Does this one count? The Craig T. Nelson and King Cattrall vehicle, Creature, which was like a short TV series, or like over a few nights or something. An amphibious shark-like monster terrorized an abandoned secret military base. Blah blah blah.
That sounds like it would be right up my alley, and I don't remember that one.
Yeah, 1998. So the next one I have seen, it's 1978 Cyclone.
I've not seen Cyclone.
It's basically there's like a tourists on a boat and a cyclone hits, and then they're stranded at sea, and then there's sharks. I remember hearing that there was somebody like they'd thrown dead bodies into the water, and sharks ate real dead bodies.
Oh.
But I think that's a lie. That stars Arthur Kennedy.
Am I supposed to know that name?
No.
Okay.
Now we're on to 2012's Dark Tide with Halle Berry.
I don't know this one at all.
Professional Diver Tudor returns to deep waters 1 year after falling an almost fatal encounter with a great white shark. The nightmare from the deep is still lurking, more carnivorous and hungry. How can it be more carnivorous? Who wrote this? You're either carnivorous or omnivorous.
There aren't levels of carnivore. They're just
Yeah, like
either carnivore or no non-carnivore.
yeah. So I don't know. I have not seen that one, but Halle Berry. So there you go. 2003 Dark Waters.
Don't know that one.
No, these are boring. The Deep.
The Deep. Oh, that's Jacqueline Bisset, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I think everybody's seen that movie.
Ah,
And it's not really a shark movie, though.
no, it's not. Isn't it more? There's like a moray eel in it. That's what I remember.
Yeah, because they're trying to get the treasure, and they keep
Yeah,
getting attacked by eels or something.
but that's like a Peter Benchley story, so maybe we're throwing it in there. Okay, a recent, well, fairly recent, 20 plus years ago, Deep Blue Sea.
Of course, fantastic movie.
Yeah. Um,
My favorite part of that movie is where Samuel L. Jackson's giving his pep speech, his pep talk, and then he just boom.
Spoiler.
Spoiler from 1999. I don't think.
What I liked about this movie is that what's her name, Saffron Burrows, she
Yeah.
dies in it,
Yep.
which is, that's almost more shocking than Samuel L. Jackson.
See, I don't. Well, Samuel L. Jackson wasn't shocking to me. It was gratifying. The more surprising thing was, given the time period, right? We had all these tropes with horror movies, and yet LL Cool J's character survived.
Right.
That was more shocking to me.
Well, just because, the female lead in a movie like this typically lives.
I don't know because so to me in that movie, right? Throughout most of the movie, they make her a pretty unlikable character. So I was not shocked or upset when she died.
No, I do, but I think they were trying to give her like a kind of a redemption arc in it.
Yeah, they kind of were.
But yeah, and the effects in it, like some of the CGI now is like, especially the Samuel L. Jackson part, like,
Mm-hmm.
but like the practical effects are amazing still.
They are. Yes, they are.
So yeah,
And the pseudoscience was even almost believable that we could make those stretches. You know what I mean?
yeah, it is pseudoscience. So it's like I said, you probably before. I always heard, and I just in my head accepted it because for whatever reason it sounded correct that sharks don't get cancer.
So I'd always heard that too, but I now know it's not true.
Right, but it made sense for a long time.
It did because that's what everybody said.
And it's the sort of thing. It's not the sort of thing that you would be. Oh, I really must challenge myself to find out if it's true or not because it's kind of irrelevant.
Well, back in our day, challenging yourself to learn something different than what your parent tells you involved a lot of work. You couldn't just Google it.
Well, I could have looked it up any time in my life, but it was only until I randomly came across something and said, "No, sharks do get cancer," and here's a picture of a shark with cancer.
Right.
I guess because the claim is kind of innocuous, I'm like, it doesn't really make any difference to my life.
Right.
That I never looked into it, but okay. Dino Shark.
Dino Shark, you say? I don't know Dino Shark.
2010. You may have heard of this 1975 movie.
Probably not.
No. It's like Teeth, Jaws. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
Yes, it's a movie about a shark. I don't know why they call it Jaws. That's weird.
I do remember this movie with a guy on a beach, and like he wore this couch as a suit jacket.
Yeah.
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 Anyway, I'm near perfection, and we both know it. So
yeah. Okay. Can we pause for 1 second?
Sure.
There you go.
Okay, go.
But what I will say is that I love Jaws too.
Why?
Okay, it's nowhere near as good as Jaws, right?
And don't get me wrong. I'm not questioning that it's a good movie. I'm asking why you like it so much.
Oh, because it's just fun to watch, and I think
Yeah.
it's competently made, especially compared to 3 and 4.
Yeah,
Like
of course.
I like the characters in it. I like what they did with it as far as having, oh, what are these teenagers? It really does go into the kind of the slasher territory with teenagers
Hmm.
in peril. Um,
Yeah.
but I like kind of that concept of, in other movies, the teenagers will be maybe, in their hot rods, Jim, racing each other and stuff. But like, what would they be doing on an island? And it kind of makes sense that all be like kind of boat
On a boat.
on a boat. I like that. Obviously, Roy Scheider's back.
Yep.
Larry Gary's back. Murray Hamilton. Um, I mean, it's Jaws light, but as far as a sequel to Jaws, I think it's pretty good. Uh, yeah, so I like it quite a bit.
I don't
Um,
disagree. I think it's a passable sequel,
so
and I enjoyed it. I don't have any major complaints with that movie.
here's the thing, though: if you look at shark movies in totality, right?
Hmm.
There's very few, other than like ridiculous ones, that
Right.
really are elevated to something which is, actually good. I,
Right.
and I think maybe people don't know what to do with it, with sharks in general, and I understand because a lot of it was done in Jaws,
Right.
and it's hard to like just keep on doing the same thing without making it ridiculous.
Yeah, it's true.
So yeah, Jaws 3D, not a fan of.
No,
I think it's boring.
there's
And,
very little shark in that movie.
and I guess that was shot where Legoland is, in
Yes,
Florida.
by Cypress Gardens. Yeah,
Right.
Cypress Gardens used to be. I don't know if that place is still
And,
open or not.
and then Jaws are.
I don't know, understand why that movie was made, and I did
Yes,
not appreciate anything about it.
yes, you do. You know why it was made?
I do.
Yeah, money.
Well, okay.
I,
Aside from money,
I am super surprised they haven't rebooted Jaws yet.
well, because they have to get done with The Exorcist first.
Yeah, exactly. Jaws dies tonight.
It's the same fucking people too. I'm so sad. I'm so
I,
scared.
I do love the story about what's his name, Michael Caine. Right, so
Mm.
he missed out picking up his Oscar, right, because he was filming Jaws of Revenge,
Right.
and then he was asked by a reporter or whatever later, and he's like, "Yeah, that movie's terrible,
Yeah.
but the mansion that I bought with the money making it is beautiful."
It's funny because I met a celebrity at Spooky and I was talking to them about a movie that I had just seen that they were in, and like that movie was terrible. It was too long and it was too boring.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, "Well, where did you see it?" I'm like, "I found it online somewhere."
Okay.
Well, I wasn't going to tell her that I wasn't going to tell the celebrity that I pirated it.
Well, you could have made up, and you could have said that you just bought it.
It's a little hard when the movie hadn't actually been released on DVD or
Uh,
anything.
well, I'm in the press, and I got like a free presser print of it.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I guess you shouldn't have brought it up at all. That's a bit of a faux pas.
It was a bit of a faux pas, but I actually didn't think it was terrible. The special effects were awful, but I liked her performance in it.
What are we talking about?
I'll tell you offline because I'll give you a hint. That celebrity will be back at Spooky this year.
Oh, um, okay. There's a ton of people coming this year.
I know.
Okay, with a pretty bad review of 1.5, we have the 70-minute adventure 2009's Psycho Shark.
Sorry, what?
Psycho
Who
Shark?
who diagnosed the shark? That's what I want to know.
Well, that would be the shark psychologist.
Oh, probably.
The
Yeah.
sharkologist.
It would have, and that would have to be like Yancey Smith or whatever her name is. It's always in the sci-fi movies.
Jersey Shore Shark Attack.
It didn't take out Snooki, so I don't care.
Jurassic Shark.
That's just a Meg. That's all it was.
Kon-Tiki.
Sorry, what did you say to me?
So, have you heard about the selling of the Kon-Tiki?
No.
So this was a guy called Thor Heyerdahl who actually did a 4,300 mile crossing of the Pacific on a balsa wood raft to
Oh,
prove that
my.
it was possible for South Americans to settle in Polynesia.
Okay.
I started watching this at some point, and I don't know why I didn't finish it.
Huh.
It's 2012. It's got a 7.1, by the way.
Nice.
Mako the Jaws of Death.
No.
So, growing up in like Jaws, there's some movies that stuck in my head that people like wherever I read it about movies that were kind of prior to Jaws,
Right.
or just around Jaws, or just after. This was one of them, and I guess this one. I'll talk about what I've watched soon enough. But basically, it's where a guy has a psychic connection to sharks, and it's kind of a pro shark movie.
Okay.
But they killed a lot of actual sharks to make it.
Oh, so yeah. Let's be pro shark, but we're gonna kill a bunch of them.
Right. Malibu Shark Attack.
Have not seen it.
Marina Monster. This is 1.3.
Okay, not seen it. But I feel compelled to. I'm gonna need you to send me this list, please, sir.
Yes. Megalodon.
That's with Michael Madsen. I have seen it. It was also loosely based on Steve Alton's writing back in the day.
This is a 2002.
Yep.
This was the one that had. I remember watching like it was a trailer or a scene out of it. It was very good effects.
Yes, it was very well done.
Okay, now we're getting to. I think it kind of taps into my fear, like The Fall does, as far as heights. But this is open water.
You have a fear of being left out or left behind?
Oh no, I've got a fear about being stuck in the middle of the ocean.
Oh. I mean, that's a solid fear, so.
Well, yeah.
I get it.
See, I don't call it a phobia because that's rational.
So, excuse me. With the first movie, I bought in. But there are large open swaths of time where I was bored.
Yeah,
and I fell out of the tension of the couple in the movie. And then I really fucking hated the end. Because I'm sorry, I cannot get behind characters that just give up.
No, I kind of understood it.
I could.
Wait, hang on. What do you mean give up? There was no. So her choice was to kill herself or get eaten by sharks.
Right.
So you'd rather be eaten alive than to drown.
I don't know. I just don't think that it was a believable ending. I did not like it at all.
Well, I mean, it's believable as far as it's based on a true story. Up from the very start.
The only part of that story that's true is that they lost 2 divers, and that's it. That's all they know.
The very start and the very end is the true part?
Yeah, pretty much. Everything else is
shit.
Well,
and obviously not what actually happened at the end, but they were left there, and then they're dead.
Right. Well, they're presumed dead.
I love open water. I didn't really feel that downtime in it because I like movies where people are stuck in one location.
Yeah, and I don't.
They're trying to figure out what to do. Plus, it's one of my fears, right? So
Right.
it totally works for me.
Which is, and I totally get that because, like Anaconda, which is admittedly not a great film, is snakes are one of my biggest fears. So I thoroughly enjoy that movie.
Yeah. See, we found a snake in our garage.
Oh.
Well, I did. It was a little tiny snake, but it was cool.
Yeah.
My wife is terrified of snakes, and I like come see.
I ran over the end of a snake and left a mower in place for 30 days.
Poor thing. I like snakes. Snakes are cool.
Yeah.
The next one I think is probably now. There's been a few movies. This is maybe the only one that I've seen about the Indianapolis. This is the 1991 Richard Thomas and Stacy Keach vehicle, Mission of the Shark.
I don't think I've seen that one. I know the story of the Indianapolis, but I don't think I've seen any movies about it.
It's really pretty good. I mean, it's a TV movie, so I mean, take that for what it is.
Right.
But I thought it was really good.
So
Go back.
Shark Week actually did a program about it also, and I forget what the name of it was, but I thought it was really well done because it took into account, survivor stories. I mean, it was not
Yeah,
it
I saw
was
that.
for a TV show. It was pretty graphic.
I think I saw that one too. Now the thing about the Indianapolis, and again, you mix kind of what happens in Jaws with real life, and
Yeah,
apparently, very few people that went into the water were actually killed by the sharks. Right.
yeah,
So the majority of people that were eaten by sharks were already dead.
yeah.
And again, you kind of get that villain motif with, and it makes you think. And I was thinking about this the other day. Sharks is probably because it's Shark Week and blood in the water and blah 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 blah.
Right.
I mean, if you look at the kind of apex predators, lions and things like that, don't get, even though they're man eater or can be man eaters. Bears get a little bit of it. Lions get a little bit of it. But there's also a lot of people see the fluffy side of them, right? Oh,
Right.
they're cute and they're oh, it's like my cat, but it's bigger.
Yeah.
Sharks don't really have that point of view by a lot of people, right?
Oh,
They
yeah,
they
that's
just
true.
they just seem sort of otherworldly.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I at one point in my life was firmly convinced that all fish were extraterrestrial because of how strange they look.
Um, okay. Uh, how's the therapy going, Jim?
It's been a while, Mark.
You know what? I love cephalopods
Do you?
like octopus and squid, cuttlefish and stuff. Especially like octopus are so smart and squid are
Well,
so smart.
just so you know, cuttlefish don't actually like to cuddle.
But do they like to cuddle?
Ha ha ha.
Okay, the next one up is your and my favorite shark movie.
I'm sure it is. I know what you're gonna say.
It's 1981's Italian classic, The Last Shark.
Yes, it is. Fantastic movie. A+ acting all around.
Vic Morrow's accent is just perfect.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to keep you off balance by doing like different accents, so you don't really know where you're at with him. So
Yeah.
it's perfect. Marina Monster 1.3.
Not seen that one.
Devilfish.
Nope.
This is 1984. I think this is it's a Lamberto Bava. So yeah, this is another Italian Jaws ripoff.
Okay.
Marine biologist, a dolphin trainer, a research scientist, and a local sheriff try to hunt down a large sea monster, a shark octopus hybrid.
Sharktopus,
Yeah, exactly. Sharktopus ripped this off.
right? Damn it.
I must see that because I like some of Bava's stuff. It's got a 2.7, so it's probably terrible. Piranha sharks.
Piranha sharks?
Yeah.
I
Great white sharks, bioengineered to be the size of piranhas.
No, you essentially take a great white shark and make it into a piranha.
Yeah. Doesn't that make sense to you?
It seems like a needless task, but okay, whatever.
Well, here's the plot. They're bioengineered to be the size of piranhas with the purpose of living in rich people's exotic aquariums. And they terrorize New York City when they get into the water supply and do what great white sharks do best.
Act like piranhas at that size, apparently.
Yeah, piranha sharks.
Yeah.
Raging sharks. 2005.
No, I got nothing on that one.
Corbin Burnson's in it. Oh, Vanessa Angel. I think I have seen this. I've seen
Corbin
this.
Burnson and who?
Vanessa Angel.
Okay.
She was in Kingpin with
Yep.
Woody Harrelson.
Yep.
I've seen this. It's
Okay.
terrible. Raiders of the Lost Shark.
I have not seen it, but I have seen previews for it.
Red Water with
No.
Lou Diamond Phillips and Christy Swanson.
No, although those are two of my favorite 80s actors.
I have seen this fairly recently.
And?
It's all right.
I'll have to look it up.
Again, this is one where it's kind of like the Anaconda thing where there's bad guys and then they start pushing people in the water and they're trying to be
So, on a side note, what is your favorite Lou Diamond Phillips vehicle?
Here's kind of a weird one because I just like the quirkiness of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Route 666.
Haven't seen that one. It's interesting.
It's got him and the woman Lori Petty.
Okay, I like her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tank Girl.
It's kind of a Tank Girl. It's kind of a supernatural. Again, I think it's probably made for sci-fi or sci-fi bought the rights. And it's weird to undercut Lou Diamond Phillips like that because obviously he was in La Bamba and stuff, and even stuff like Bats, which is pretty cool.
I have 3 vehicles that I absolutely love with Lou Diamond Phillips, and you just mentioned one. That was Bats. I thought that was great. I don't know why, but I love that movie. And then I also love The First Power.
Yes.
And then a little known fact about Lou Diamond Phillips is I know where he got his start in acting. Do you?
No.
7-Eleven training films. When I was in high school, I had to go through I was working at 7-Eleven, and I had to go through their training. And wouldn't you know who pops up as one of the cashiers at a 7-Eleven?
Now, was that before or after he was in movies?
I'm assuming way before.
Okay, cool story.
Yeah.
The next one, I think this is actually a really, really good modern shark movie. This is 2010's The Reef.
And I didn't care for it.
So this kind of is, to me, like Open Water.
Okay.
It's that same sort of vibe to me, although it's not like found footage type stuff. But I just think it's really well done. You just said you didn't like it.
I didn't care for the movie itself. I do not disagree that it was well made. Like, the special effects were good, the acting wasn't terrible. I just didn't care for the movie.
And again, this was another one that was based on a true story.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go through some more of these. I don't know how much more time. How long have we been going anyway?
I don't know because I stopped the first recording, so it's got to be close to an hour.
Okay, well, we'll just do a few more of these, and we can always come back to it because
we can.
We're up to, funnily enough, 69. And so we have 100 plus to go, 120 plus to go. Okay, Shark Zone.
I'm sorry, what?
Shark Zone.
Don't know that one.
No, 2003. Nope, never heard of it. 1979's The Shark Hunter.
Nope.
Franco Nero's in it. It's another Italian Jaws ripoff. A crusty recluse on a Caribbean island who is dedicated to destroying sharks. Huh, I wonder who that's based on. Gets involved in a hunt for buried treasure. 2001 Shark Hunter.
Didn't we just do that one?
No.
But no, I don't know it.
Shark in Venice.
Nope. Don't know.
I've seen this one. Stephen Baldwin's in it.
Oh.
2008.
Hmm.
Shark Kill,
Nope.
1976.
Oh, that's a great earmark.
Not a ball. It's one of the years of the apocalypse, I hear.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I have not heard of this one. Shark Night, 2011.
I feel like I've seen. I know this one.
Yeah, I've seen it too. If I read the description, you probably will. A weekend at a lake house in Louisiana Gulf turns into a nightmare when 7 vacationers as they are subjected to shark attacks. This is one I remember. This I think this got a theatrical release,
Yeah,
maybe.
it sounds really familiar.
Shark Swarm,
Nope, don't know that one.
Shark.
I love it. I love the cartoon.
Never seen it. Shark Week. I guess they were cashing in on the name.
Clearly.
Patrick Bergen's in it.
Huh.
Okay, so the next one I want to talk about a little bit because, and I'm not going to spoil what I've watched, but 1969's Burt Reynolds' vehicle, and I met Burt Reynolds a while ago. Samuel Fuller's movie called Shark.
Nope.
So this movie, unfortunately, one of the stunt actors was attacked and killed by a shark,
Come on.
and they caught it on video. And they said that they kept it in the movie and used it as part of their promotion.
Wow.
Like, come see this movie where somebody actually gets killed by a shark.
Faces of death kind of thing.
Right, but this movie is not really about sharks. I guess it's more of, again, like a lot of these ones about treasure hunting, and the sharks were
Yep.
only like a small part of it. But whenever that happened, I think it was also called Man Eater or something. They changed the name. But I mean, that's just disgusting.
It is.
The producers are just like, we can make some money off this per stunt actor. I guess they had, it was either they had netted off sharks or they had sedated sharks or something, but something went wrong. One of the sharks attacked this stunt guy and killed him. Okay, next one. I have seen this one, and I remember quite enjoying it. Maybe because Jeffrey Combs was in it. William Forsythe was in it too. This is the 2005 sci-fi movie Shark Man.
I have not seen this one.
A scientist tries to save his son from cancer, but his experiments turn him into a shark man instead.
You know what? That is suspiciously close to a YA thread that Steve Alton wrote
Ooh.
called Sharkman.
He obviously stole it from here.
Yeah, or he licensed it for them.
Okay, here's another one that probably just has some shark elements to it, but it's probably not the. This is treasure hunting. But it's 1975, and Yaphet Kotto's in it, called Shark's Treasure.
Don't know that one.
An aging fisherman finds a sunken treasure in shark-infested waters and is attacked by 5 escaped convicts.
I thought we were going to say escaped sharks.
Shark teeth. Shark teeth.
Shark teeth. No idea.
2006 now. She Gods of Shark Reef, 1958.
She Gauze?
Gods.
Oh, She Gods. Okay, no idea.
Again. Oh, it's Roger Corman directed.
Why am I not surprised by that?
By the way, and we'll come to this a little bit later, but I was watching a documentary with Roger Corman in it, right?
Yeah.
And this was maybe from last year.
Okay.
That dude looks amazing.
Does
He is 95 years old.
Right?
And he still looks like maybe 70s.
Wow.
And you know who Roger
Does
Corman?
he? Does he? Or has our perception shifted now that we're almost 50?
No, no, no. Honestly, he still looks great. He now my wife's grandparents are the same age as him,
Mm-hmm.
and they look good for their age, but they look way older than he does. I don't know. It's weird. Snow Shark, the ancient snow beast.
No.
Nobody interesting. Spring Break Shark Attack. I kind
Oh,
of
we
wish,
go back. We're back at bikinis.
yeah, I kind of wish this would happen at Clearwater because Spring Break's just stupid here.
Yeah, I have not seen it.
And it is based in Florida. Street Sharks. What? Oh, I
Is that
think
the cartoon Street Sharks or the movie Street Sharks?
this is animation. I guess it was a series.
It was, and I loved it. I
Uh,
absolutely loved it. They were sharks that lived in the sewer, and they could bite through concrete.
as most sharks do.
Of course. This was a knockoff of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, blatantly. But it
Right.
was fantastic. I loved it in every sense of the word.
Here's a 1963 movie that's rated 7.4, which is wow. That's for IMDb, that's really high, and
Right.
it's called The Shark Hunters.
Hmm.
I think it's probably Mexican or Spanish, judging by the director and stars. Aurelio is a shark fisherman who works on the coast of Tabasco, Mexico. Okay, there we go, Mexico. Da 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 da. I don't know what that's about.
Okay.
Shark Island.
Okay, no.
Here's another one again. Whenever I was looking back in movies that were around Jaws, Tintorera Killer Shark. Ever heard of that one? I think this one's kind of like a soft core porn-ish one.
So it's a Skinamax movie, is what you're telling me?
Yeah. I think I've seen this. Into the Blue, 2005.
I feel like I know this one. What's her name? Jessica Alba.
Yep. Paul Walker, Scott.
Yep.
Um,
It was eh.
not,
It was
not,
sort of like a remake of The Deep with Jacqueline Bisset. It was
Right.
along the same lines. It was
Cruel Jaws, Bruno Mattei,
no.
1995. So, so when you talk about Italian ripoffs, this
Yeah.
is the most Italian ripoff of ripoffs of ripoffs. So
Okay.
this not only stole scenes from Jaws, Jaws 2, I think Jaws 3, but also stole scenes from The Last Shark.
Okay.
So, like, and The Last Shark was obviously a ripoff of Jaws and Jaws 2.
Right.
But this is such a ripoff. It rips off the movie that was ripping off those, plus adding in those ones. Anyway, you don't seem as enamored with that one.
No, not so much.
Cool Jaws. Okay, 2015 Shark Exorcist.
That one I've seen parts of.
A,
And it's not great. It's
a
not great.
demonic nun unleashes holy hell when she summons the devil to possess a great white shark.
Yes.
You know that tale as old as time.
Yes. It's in the same weight class as Velocipaster.
Mm-hmm. Which I did not like that movie, Velocipaster.
I didn't either.
Again, just because you're trying too hard to make a
Yep.
cult movie. 1996. It's an Indian movie. A Tank.
No, I didn't.
Aatank.
Nope.
2001 Sharkman.
Didn't we already do this?
No,
Sharkman?
nope.
No,
This
I
is a
don't know.
different one.
I mean, there's more than one Sharkman, so we have Shark People.
Yeah, it's a whole shark society.
Okay.
Robo Shark.
Yeah.
because again, a great white shark bites a UFO and turns
No,
into a robo shark hybrid.
no. Okay. Was it a UFO or a USO, unidentified submersible object?
Well, it was a UFO, then it turned into a USO.
Okay.
1989, Deep Blood, Joe
No,
D'Amato movie.
no idea.
1988's Night of the Sharks.
Nope.
Okay, so we're at 100 at 1998's Great White.
I've not seen that. 1998's great.
Okay, so there's if anybody's still awake, thank you. It was 100 shark movies, and I think probably if you took the ratings and you
Yeah.
averaged them out, it's out of 100, you're probably going to get like a 3 or a 3.5 for all of those movies, which
Okay.
again just goes to show that good shark movies are very few and far between.
Right.
Jim, do you have anything else to say?
Not about shark movies. I don't.
Do you want
I
to
did. So I
revisit?
do want to talk about one shark movie. So let's talk about one shark movie
Yeah.
because you brought it up earlier. We all know that there is a shark movie that is coming out next week, I believe, right? With everybody's favorite action star,
Jason Statham.
indeed. Um, so there's a scene that I've seen in the previews that is a direct ripoff of Jaws.
Hang on, Jim. Tell me it ain't so. I mean, was there? So in the first Meg, I didn't spot any Jaws ripoffs. Did you?
I did indeed. But this one was a surprise to me because of the sheer size of this shark. For them to pull this off, it looks like this is going to be sheer lunacy.
It's
So
still PG-13 though.
it is. It is. But there's this scene where he's on. It looks like he's on a deck or something, and the megas come up just like the shark did when it swallowed. What's his name? Oh my god.
Quint?
Yes, thank you. And he's sitting there with his feet on the jaws of the Meg, trying not to get swallowed. And I can't help but laugh every time I see it.
Jim, are you going to go watch The Meg 2 in the movie theater?
Absolutely. A friend of mine and I went and saw the original and had a blast, and we plan on doing the same.
This one looks even more sci-fi quality than the first one.
And I am totally here for that.
Just with Jason Statham on like the jet ski and stuff.
Right.
What? And it's a bit weird, right? Because like I probably have read the second one of the books, but the books, and you can totally correct me because it's been a while since I've even read the first one.
Yeah.
They weren't that sci-fi level. I think they were
Oh
trying.
no, he
Period.
goes way deep into the science. He goes so deep into the science, it's crazy.
I mean sci-fi channel quality, like goofiness.
Oh no, so not really. No,
Right.
it's more into the action adventure ridiculousness. But I mean, like they go. There are parts of the books where they go into these entire lost seas and there's entire lost ecosystems with
Right, but it wasn't like,
Titanoboa alive and all that kind of stuff.
right, but it wasn't goofy sci-fi like.
No. It was all dropped. It
But
was
that's
dead serious, but I think to adapt it for a larger audience, they sort of have to go a bit ridiculous.
that's called selling your soul, isn't it?
I don't. It's called making money.
So you always have to compromise to make money.
I'm not saying always, but I think with this vehicle, it was a good call.
Nah, I disagree. Just
Huh?
probably because I didn't like the first one,
Probably.
and even and we talked about this way back in the day. I just found it boring. The first
Yeah,
one.
I didn't.
Yeah.
So, do you want me to go? Because I have no movies to talk about. I just have books.
I have a ton a ton of movies to talk about. So go ahead.
Okay, so let me go through my books.
Yep.
First book. So first, let me talk about this. The Books of Horror group that I'm in on Facebook. It's called Books of Horror. You will
Oh,
find some.
before you start, Jim,
Yeah.
I was alerted to a Facebook post that was very disturbing.
Oh.
And apparently this person said that they had a podcast. And what should they be doing with the podcast? Should they be interviewing authors?
Okay.
Now, who is
I think you're misquoting this because that was not at all what I said.
apparently the word "I" was in there. I have a podcast, not we, Jim.
Is that how I wrote it?
Yeah, that's how you wrote it. And what,
I'm gonna have to look that up because
my
I
wife
don't recall.
ended on my behalf, and I once I looked at it, I'm like, maybe he got hacked. That's the most
No,
reasonable explanation.
I assure you it was a
I,
slip of the finger. That's all.
I'm totally kidding.
So
Anyway,
and
sorry.
this the funny thing is the first book I'm going to talk about is what spawned that post. So there
Yep.
is a Books of Horror Freeview group also where sometimes the authors and will give you copies of the books to read in exchange for you to give them an honest review on either Goodreads or whatever site you typically use. So I am a part of that group as well. And there is this gentleman named Kevin J. Kennedy who has been kind enough to grant me some audible book codes for his anthologies. He does collections of short stories, right?
Hmm.
So the latest ones that I've read was Inside the Indie Horror World. And what this is, it's a collection of um, I can't say tales because that's wrong. It's the experiences of different authors and what they went through and their writing process and all that kind of stuff. And it was so interesting to me to hear the individual journeys for these people that were writing that it was absolutely fantastic. I thought it was going to be more geared towards other people that wanted to write, but it really just gives you a good insight into the people who are already writing the stories you like. It's about their personal journey. It's not necessarily a, oh look, I can do it, you can do it. All you have to do is do this, this, and this, which is what I was expecting.
Right.
It was fantastic. And if anybody is interested in authors or the writing process in general, it's a fantastic book to read, in my opinion. Um, so through that book, I was alerted to an author that I was not aware of called Mark Allen Gunnels. This was not a book that I got through the Books of Horror group. This was a book I used one of my credits for at Audible. And this was a story the book is called Before He Wakes by Crystal Lake Publishing. So I'm going to give you a little snippet of the book. I'm not going to listen. I'm going to read you the summary.
Okay.
Patrick and Claire wake up trapped in a basement, a thin wall separating their cells. Their captor is mysteriously absent, which at first seems like a blessing. As more times pass with no food or water, they begin to realize that a clock is ticking on their survival. That's as much as I'm going to say. What I will say is this book, I did not know at the time that the protagonist was gay, but it plays. How do I put this the right way? Like it's treated just like everything else, and I appreciate that. Like he's worried about what's going on with his family at home. What's his boyfriend going to think because he really wants to get back to him and he really cares. And it's just treated like any other relationship you might see in a horror movie.
Mm.
When somebody's trapped somewhere, and I really liked that, and I
Yeah.
thought it was really well done.
And I think we've talked about this in the past, especially with like Knock at the Cabin, whatever.
Yeah,
I think just not making minority characters be defined by how they are a minority and making that the big deal.
right. Because
It,
throughout this book,
it's kind of like you just write them like you would write any straight or white or black, just
exactly,
right.
and like Patrick, this character Patrick, he is athletic, he's smart, He is inventive. He comes up with all these plans. He's kind. He's a good person. There's so much more to him, and that's just one facet. And I really appreciate the way it was written. But I will say that this book has a lot of twists that I did not see coming, and you would really like the ending. And that's all I'm going to say about
it. Okay.
Then I also, so you've heard me talk about an author named John Durgan before.
Mm-hmm.
Through Books of Horror Freeview, I got a copy of his book Sleeping in the Fire.
This is that's going to be painful.
It is. It really is. This is a collection of 9 short stories that he wrote, and every single one of them is fantastic. There is one, and I don't remember the title of it, that is a prequel to another one of his books that I read called Into the Devil's Nest, which it was so awesome to hear the backstory of that character from that other story that was far and away that was one of my favorites in the entire collection.
Okay.
Next up was a book called The City by S.C. Mendez. This is, hold on one second, my notes real quick. So this is essentially a detective story but it has a quote unquote underworld with mythic creatures and that kind of stuff. It's not so much horror as paranormal, I would call it, because it's not like it's got alien races and different types of human beings and people that can do extraordinary things, and it takes place in 1910.
Okay.
It's a very interesting story, and it's written really well. There are some times when I think, unfortunately, that it does drag a little bit, but overall, it's a solid story. It was done really well, and it was solid. That's about as much as I can say about it. If you really like detective stories, it's a good new direction for it to take. What else do I have? I don't remember if I talked about before, but even if I didn't, I will say it again. Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. So this is a book. This book was about a girl who works at a store like IKEA, but not IKEA.
Like IMEA or something?
No, I mean, hold on a second. Orsk. She works for a store called Orsk, and they have their stores specifically laid out, and they have people that are walking through the store to help you, all that kind of stuff, right?
Jim, have you ever been to an IKEA?
I have, yes.
I have not.
I have. They do have some really good meatballs. I will say that.
It's a spicy meatball. Okay.
Right. It's actually really not, because it's done in the I know. It's in a lingonberry sauce, which is really, really good. Anyway, so this is essentially, they're at an Orsk furniture store in Cleveland, and all this weird stuff starts to happen. So the manager comes up with this bright idea to have 2 of the people that work there stay with him overnight to see if they can catch the person that they're convinced is inside the store after everybody leaves, to stop the vandalism. Let's just say things don't turn out quite the way they thought things were gonna happen, and that's all I'm gonna say. My favorite part of this book, so it's solid. It's a good story. It's enjoyable. I did not hate it. There was nothing that I thought was terrible about it. My favorite part of this audiobook was Bronson Pinchot does these little quote unquote Orsk training videos and snippets and stuff, where you just hear him reading all these advertisements and stuff, and they continue to get more and more demented and demonic as the story goes on, and I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was a really fun thing to do. So I did drop back into urban fantasy for a little bit, and I listened to Dreams of the Forgotten Dead by Eric Asher, which brings us back to our favorite necromancer, Damien Bessick. And this continues his journey, where he comes back from the abyss where he was trapped, and now he's trying to fit back into his life. It was fantastic. The new narrator, Travis Baldree, was fantastic. Um, so you probably don't know this, but there were several Vesic stories. Uh, and for the first, I want to say almost 75 audiobook hours, they were all done by one narrator.
Mhm.
And I feel terrible that I can't. Oh, Durfus, William Durfus was the narrator, and he was phenomenal. Unfortunately, he passed away. And the author took that into account when looking for a new narrator.
Yeah.
And for the next series of books, to allow for a transition, he wrote them from a different point of view so that he could have a different narrator.
Oh,
And I thought it was really fantastic and a great way to honor him. And this goes back into our more traditional storytelling. It's the first book where it's told from Damien's point of view again. It right on par with all of the past books. This is a series, for whatever reason, I have not gotten sick of at all. And I am so invested in it, it's disgusting. What else do we have? So then I got this book called Dead Shock, a quote unquote sci-fi horror novel.
Mm-hmm.
It could not have been more by the numbers. Like, this takes place in a futuristic society. There's no advanced tech. They hear all these terrible noises, but they can't do any scans to let them know what's going on. And it's just all of the elements were there for what could have been a really great book, but they just never come together. There are some really solid ideas that could have been fantastic. The characters are okay, they're well written, but there's never a complete unity through the entire story, and it was really disappointing.
Mm.
Anyway,
Just a little bit too generic.
Yeah, and it kind of was. I mean, you could tell that there were influences from the Alien saga, from the movies, the Alien movies. You could tell that there was Event Horizon symbology was in there, but it never came together.
Yeah, it's probably like if I could write a book, just like I just take all my movies that I love and just try and put it into one book.
Yeah, kind of. That's kind of how it felt, and it never came together for me.
Yeah,
and that's it for me.
Okay. I will. Okay, since you were talking about books, I will start with books.
Okay.
Did I? Because we haven't recorded for a couple of weeks, so did I tell you I finished?
Wait! Don't say that because I've still been releasing episodes.
I mean, we recorded last week, so. Did I tell you that I finished Deep Storm by Lincoln Child?
I don't think so. I know you talked about starting it, but I don't think you talked about finishing it.
Yep. So I finished that one.
Scott Brick, the narrator?
Scott Brick, yeah.
I love Scott Brick.
Well, so I found the flaw in Scott Brick.
Oh, God.
And there was only a small, very small portion, like it would have been like maybe a chapter or half that chapter or something. He cannot do a Scottish accent. Not doing Scottish. It was bad. But I love Scott Brick anyway, so it's fine. Now this was really good. It kind of reminded me a little bit of like Sphere.
Mm-hmm.
Underwater sci-fi, something going on.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got some other kind of like there's a sabotage going on, and who is it? And but this was really good. I think this is my first step outside of their Pendergast books, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm going to keep on looking for more Lincoln Child stuff at least. But yeah.
So, if you haven't read it, they do have a series where they explore Nora and what's her name?
I think I started that as a book.
I enjoyed it. I read the first one, the Canyon Canyon.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking. But is that Preston Little or is that Lincoln Child? I can never remember.
Hold on.
Or is it both of them?
I think it's both of them. But I can't remember who's the FBI girl. What was her name?
Uh, oh yeah, the one Pendergast met, and then she went into the FBI. I don't remember, but
Yeah,
yeah,
Nora
they
Kelly. Nora Kelly. That's the one I couldn't think of.
right.
So Old Bones, and it is a Preston and Child.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think I've got a couple of credits by now.
So I
Um,
read Old Bones, and that was a solid story. I liked it a lot.
yeah. So I was on the plane and I was kind of like, I don't know what to listen to. So I started listening to Helldivers. I think you recommended that.
I did. I enjoy the
Um,
Helldiver series.
this, it wasn't anything about the story or the writing or the narrator or whatever. I think I was just like ADHD. So I'm
Yeah.
just, so I re-listened to At the Mountains of Madness by H.P. Lovecraft,
Okay.
which is Lovecraft. So
Yep. I can't get into Lovecraft. I've tried several times.
yeah, I mean, I think because he does short stories, he
Hmm.
is kind of easier to get into. But
Yeah, maybe.
you have to be on board with that sort of almost antiquated language, and
Yep.
but he's got some amazing ideas.
And
Obviously,
I think that's where the disconnect is for me is the antiquated language. I think that's why it's so hard for me to enjoy his stories.
now have you listened to audiobooks or was it reading?
It was reading. I have not tried any of his audiobooks.
I recommend trying something which is an audiobook. I think it's a
Uh-huh.
little bit easier to consume
That's
that way.
probably fair because I had a big issue with Stephen King's The Dark Tower series,
Hmm.
but I ripped through it in audiobooks.
Right. So, and I think Lovecraft's usually pretty cheap or whatever in Audible.
Yeah.
And through probably what you do with your free stuff, you can probably get it for nothing. Um, so I moved on from fiction to fact. I think I mentioned this in our other podcast. I'm currently listening to SPQR by Mary Beard, which is a factual retelling about ancient Rome.
Okay.
And you know, I've always been fascinated with ancient Rome, ancient Greece, Italy. Are you okay? Jimmy, you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Sorry.
Yeah. But what I always find super interesting is whenever, especially in school, right? Whenever you're taught history, and you were probably mainly taught American history and not much world history, right? Or were
That
you?
is not. No, that is not true.
I know,
I went
sir.
to school. I
I
went
know.
to school back in the day when we actually did West
Okay.
world history.
But usually, what history is in school, it's about the big moments, right? It's
Right.
about the big battles. It's about
Yep.
this, that, that. And obviously, this book has a lot of that in it. I think I'm 8 hours in, and I think it's like an 18-hour book. Um, but it gives like a lot of interesting insight about some of the kind of the smaller things, and they're talking about um, how Rome sort of introduced like laws, and
Right.
laws weren't something that were like normal um, compared to what we think about today. And it even goes into like, hey, if what happens if I have a neighbor and they have a tree that's overhanging my house? Whose responsibility is it to cut that down in case it falls down and damages my property? Right. So it goes down to that level of day to day life, right? Which you don't really think about so much whenever you think about history. You don't think about the day to day smaller things, especially 2,000 plus years ago.
Right.
They thought about that and they were like, okay, so um, if somebody robs you, or, burglarizes your house during the day, they get a certain punishment. But if somebody does it at night, they get worse
Right.
punishment. So it's things like that. It's like it kind of humanizes people in history, right? And it's
Mhm.
not just about Julius Caesar or Augustus and they
And
won
that's
this and they won that.
yeah.
So I think it does a good job in that. One of my favorite comebacks, Julius Caesar, who was a horrible genocide committing person, but he was also very good in certain aspects too.
Right.
But like I guess I think it was a senator or something. And he was like talking shit to him. And he's like, "I could kill you quicker than I could threaten to kill you." And like that's such a good line. It's just
Right.
like fuck off. Anyway, SPQR so far is very good. I think Mary Beard might be. Oh no, it's not narrated by her, but it's narrated by another English woman who kind of adds that class, for lack of a better word, to this kind of like epic, historical, factual book. Um, okay, so so Secret Invasion. Moving on to like TV and movies and
Yep.
stuff. Yeah, I like the series. Wasn't anything spectacular. To me, it was very espionage esque, kind of Winter Soldier type series.
I didn't care for Winter Soldier at all.
What? Winter Soldier was one of the best MCU movies, in my opinion. So that was pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna start going through some of these movies. I watched 2018's Butterfly Kisses.
What?
Butterfly Kisses.
What?
Butterfly Kisses.
That's a song from the 90s.
Well, you know what Butterfly Kisses are, right?
Yeah, eyelash kisses. Yes, I do
Yeah.
know.
So, Butterfly Kisses. This is
Yes.
a found footage movie.
Okay.
But it's kind of like a found footage movie. So this
Movie about found footage.
it's a found footage movie about found footage about found footage. So the premise of this movie is this aspiring filmmaker um, happens across a box of like DVDs or I think it might have been film that his in-laws found whenever they moved into this new house. Right, they found it underneath like a boiler, and
Yeah.
they gave it to him. So he's starting to go through all these tapes, and he's oh wow, it's like this person who was making a documentary um, about an urban legend called the Peeping Tom.
Okay.
And it's a bit of a weird setup because apparently what you have to do is go to this like abandoned tunnel and stare without blinking for an hour at this tunnel, and then like at night, and if you can do that, at the end of the tunnel you'll see this Peeping Tom guy get up who's like the spirit who'll come and kill you.
But you have to be really committed to this if you're going to stare into a tunnel for an hour.
Right. And whenever they're showing the tapes, they're like, oh, we're going to bring this person who is like a staring champion in like our local high school, or because it's like high school, it's kind of a Blair Witch Project high school, college, early college project, who won all these staring contests. And he's like, oh, he only made it like 20 minutes and he couldn't do it. But they left the camera on, and so the idea is the camera's like an eye, which never blinked. So this Peeping Tom character starts going after the people who made those tapes.
Okay.
But what the movie is very interesting about, because the documentary crew who is making a documentary about this kind of amateur filmmaker who found his tapes start questioning, like, is he making this shit up?
Okay.
And the guy who's the filmmaker, because they're like, well, isn't it a bit weird that you're an amateur filmmaker and you found these tapes and you splice them all together and you're going to release it now? Doesn't that just sound like kind of bullshit, right? This is just marketing.
Right.
And so it kind of goes down that, and they eventually kind of set him up with going on to this like local radio DJ for an interview. And there are people calling in because they've seen like he's released like a trailer and stuff, online, and people are calling him like fucking, you're just full of shit, dude. And they even get Eduardo Sanchez, who made Blair Witch.
Yep.
They have him on there, and he's calling him up, and he's telling him the same thing. He's like, dude, what people aren't going to believe this, like whatever. So it's kind of like a meta found footage thing, but I thought it was pretty good. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, that okay. I mean, I'm not a big found footage guy, but it sounds like it has an interesting premise.
Yeah, so my viewing week has been pretty weird because I've done like found footage stuff, documentaries, mainstream stuff, and then I've kind of done kind of like a bunch of different foreign stuff. So anyway, speaking of found footage, and maybe because I watched this and this came up, Eduardo Sanchez's 2014 Bigfoot movie exists.
So I've seen that one.
Mm-hmm.
That's about the filmmakers that go out into the woods, and the brunette filmmaker starts having a little
Yes.
bit of a breakdown. Yeah, I thought that was really good. I actually enjoyed that one.
I thought this was middling.
See,
Um,
and it's interesting.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that's interesting that I actually enjoyed that one a lot more than I expected to.
Um, so for Eduardo Sanchez, it's weird because I really like his Alien movie, which isn't a found footage one, called Altered. I don't know if
I
you've
don't think
seen
I've seen
that.
that one.
It's really good and it's pretty grim uh, in places. And he made that before this one, and then he made a segment in one of my favorite anthologies, which is VHS Two.
Right.
Um, but with Exists, it's almost like he's reverted back to there was so many Blair Witch Project stereotypical scenes in it.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
okay.
like, I I don't really understand why you're retreading the same ground. I mean, you kind of broke that ground, right?
Right.
And now you're kind of retreading it. I I didn't really think it was okay. Um, I guess I was expecting a little bit more from it, but
Bad Eduardo Sanchez.
so I watched 2023's. I'm sure you're probably wanting to watch this if you haven't. Just released on Shutter. The documentary Sharksploitation.
I have not. Okay. Tell me about shark exploitation.
So this is, if you're familiar with like a lot of the Shutter documentaries, talking heads with different clips of different movies in between. They talk about kind of the history of it, where and this is where I heard about that Burt Reynolds movie, and they were talking about people being, that guy being killed and stuff. I'm like, oh my god, that's terrible. I thought this was a very well made, again, like a lot of their documentaries, just super solid, really interesting. A lot of interesting people on there talking about it. They have like Peter Benchley's wife on there, and they're talking about Jaws, obviously, and then they're going down the list of some of the crazy ones, and they have some of the filmmakers from that. They have like the guy that made Ghost Shark and stuff talking about it. So yeah, definitely check it out. Obviously for you,
Yeah.
and for anybody that likes a good old shark movie.
I'll take a look.
Next one that I saw was 2023's Elizabeth Banks directed Cocaine Bear.
And what did you think?
Have you seen it, first of all?
Of course, I saw it in the theaters. We talked about it already.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Uh, I gave this again like a 5 out of 10,
Yeah.
just because I think she missed the mark tonally. It's like some of the characters are obvious, like cartoon characters, in that know that they're in this pretty stupid B movie about a bear that likes cocaine,
Yeah.
and they act that way. And then there's some characters who seem more normal,
Yep.
and like it doesn't gel well together. Like, and then there's like Ray Liotta pops up, and it's like, well, it's weird that you're here now, and you seem to be taking it seriously, and then okay, now you're not. Um, And you know about the actual story about the real cocaine
Yes.
bear, right?
Yes, I do.
It was much less interesting and more sad that it just overdosed and died after eating it.
Right.
But this one, like they made the bear, try to be intimidating, and there is some good gore and stuff in it. But then they made the bear, even the bear tonally wasn't, and like there was no consistency. It was either being like Yogi the Bear on cocaine, or it was being this terrifying beast ripping people apart.
And see, I really liked the tonal shifts. I enjoyed those. It's
See,
one of the reasons I enjoyed that movie that much.
I don't even think it was tonal shifts. It just wasn't tonally consistent, right? I don't really see that there was a kind of a purpose. Sometimes whenever you have a movie and it does shift tonally, they do it for a reason. But this was haphazard. It just happened all the way through. It
But
was
the whole
like,
movie was haphazard. There was zero.
here's a goofy part. Here's a more serious. Here's a goofy part. Here's a more, and it's
like
fine. I mean,
like when the ranger shot that kid in that when the kid got shot in the head. It
yeah,
was I laughed my ass off.
I didn't laugh at this.
I did a lot. Like when the stretcher falls out of the ambulance and flips, I was howling with laughter.
I, and I really, really, really think that they should have went totally one way or totally the other. And I think I would have had a better time. Either
You
make
you
it
will
serious or make it totally goofy all the time. I
you you will get another chance when Meth Gator comes out later this year from Asylum.
and Crackoon.
I didn't know that that one was real. I know Meth Gator is real.
Well, again, this is like the Asylum
Yeah.
thing, right? But I I kind of wish that that's just name recognition. A lot of what like Asylum and stuff do or sci-fi is they take an actual good movie and then just make clones of it and
Yeah.
stupid clones, which is fine. I mean, whatever. But I was just left a little empty after Cocaine Bear. I was just like, pick,
Did you feel you needed a better high?
yeah. I watched a documentary,
Cocaine Bear.
2019, Fine Lines,
Don't know that
and
one.
this is not about cocaine.
Oh, well then
Uh,
what's the point?
so I do this to torture myself sometimes. Again, I do not like heights at all, and this is about like mountain climbers.
Oh,
And I've watched a few documentaries. So here's the thing with mountain climbers that I found after watching a number of documentaries. And I have to say, obviously, they're very brave. Although I don't think that they are that brave because they're just not afraid of it so much. Um, that they all think they're fucking philosophers. They all talk about, well, death is blah blah blah, and life is that, and being on here and blah 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 blah. Like you're not a fucking philosopher. You're somebody that climbs a fucking mountain, and it seems endemic in these documentaries where they all have to spat off like they're the fucking Dalai Lama or something. Like I don't need to hear your fucking philosophy in life because you're rich and you can spend a lot of money going to different places and spend a lot of your time climbing fucking mountains. That doesn't detract on my admiration for what they're actually doing, but I feel a lot of them are kind of up their own fucking assholes
right.
and they just like to pontificate as if they're somebody special compared to you or me because they
Right.
climbed a fucking mountain. And really, it's like, well, no. And then they're all talking about, yeah, a whole bunch of people that I know over the years have died from fucking falling off the mountain. Well, you're not that big of a fucking brainiac because a whole bunch of people have died for no reason, right? You don't have to climb a fucking mountain.
Right.
But at the same time, there's beautiful cinematography, and one of the guys who was actually one of the more like really down to earth, no pun intended, guys was a guy that does like a lot of free climbing, so without the ropes and stuff. I'm like, he's up there, like way up there. And he was talking about, he's like, I'm not gifted, I just put a lot of training and time into it, because you find a lot of these people are like, I just was gifted from like I was 8 and I could climb anything, blah blah blah. And he's like, no, um, I'm just a regular guy. Just put I put 20 years of practice in. So anyway, obviously it makes me want to throw up watching it, because they're up fucking thousands and thousands of feet, and some of them without ropes, doing this stuff. Yeah, but. As far as the documentary, it's good. Just fast forward through some of their bullshit. I watched 2022's Pray for the Devil.
Why does this sound familiar? I don't think I've seen it, but I know the name.
Because it's got a very generic name in this day and age. Lots of devil, prey, exorcist.
Wait, isn't that the one? Yeah, I was going to say, isn't that the one about the nun?
Yes.
Okay. I haven't seen it yet.
Again, 5 out of 10. I mean, they really try and do, hey, here's a different angle on it, because we have this nun here, and it's usually priests who do the exorcism, but this nun has some of a backstory, and they're in the Vatican, and I don't know. It kind of sickens me a little bit, because they start off with saying, since 2010 or 2000 or 1990, whatever the fuck it was, there's been such a rise in exorcisms, they've had to like increase the classes of exorcisms and stuff. I'm like, maybe you want to increase the fucking number of people who need to be looking into your kitty fiddling,
right.
Rather than this bullshit, whether that's true.
So then you're really going to hate the premise of the new Exorcist, man. Have you seen the trailer?
No, I haven't watched it.
Do you want me to tell you?
Go ahead.
Okay, so these 2 girls get lost in the woods. They're gone for 3 days, and they come back, and they're just not. And they go through all of the medical tests and blah, blah, blah with the parents. And all of a sudden, somebody determines that they are possessed. And somebody at the hospital says to them, I don't know who to tell you to go to, but other people have had experiences with this, and they give the name of Chris MacNeil, who has now become obsessed with exorcisms since the happening from the original Exorcist. Right. It ignores Exorcist 2 and 3 completely, according to the synopsis.
Well, yeah, just like they did with Halloween.
Right. So now they call in Chris MacNeil to do the Exorcist.
Yeah. I saw pictures of her with like the dog collar and stuff.
What I did say what I will say I did like from what I read online was that Linda Blair came in as a technical assistant to help the little girls, the young girls, with their performance. So I did like that they reached out to her, because she went through it originally.
I've met her.
Have you? I'm jealous.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was a spooky a few years ago. My wife bought one of her T-shirts.
She's an animal rescue in Ocala.
Yeah, she's pit bulls. I think it's pit bulls on her shirt.
It's all kinds of animals.
Yeah. Okay. Was that it?
So yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you were talking. I interrupted you. Yeah. So I mean, I have no expectations about this new Exorcist movie. I don't know why they would bring in Chris O'Neill. Like, what the fuck does she know about exorcisms? Nothing.
Well, that's the thing. She supposedly, according to the storyline, has become obsessed and studied them.
Right, but don't they have priests that are supposed to do that?
Not in this movie, apparently.
Yeah.
And the part that really worries me about any of my enjoyment for this movie is where she goes in to confront one of the girls, and one of the girls says something to her. She goes, "We've met before."
So they're turning Chris MacNeil into the Laurie Strode.
Essentially, yes.
Just because they want to have her in it. It's stupid. That makes no sense.
Yeah, but that line could sink that entire movie for me.
Well, it's going to be more than that line.
No, I'm telling you that whether I enjoy it or not, the
Well,
way
you
that
know it's
that
going to
line
be,
gets
you know it's
delivered,
going to be
that could be
Pazuzu,
the.
right?
It's got to be.
Yeah, Pazuzu dies tonight.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They
But why?
never had a name for
Because
her.
you already knew that,
Hmm.
right?
I
You
don't know.
already knew that going in, right?
No,
I, you didn't think that's what they were going to do?
I had no idea. I really had no expectation.
It's like, well, you didn't think in their Halloween reboot it was going to be Miguel Myers.
No.
So Pray for the Devil. Again, it's probably just my own dislike for the Catholic Church as much as anything that is in the Vatican, and they're being portrayed as these fucking wonderful people. And oh, now we're letting this woman in. Isn't this like fuck off?
Kind of progressive of us.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now we're on our around the world trip. So
Okay.
I watched 2018 South Korean movie, The Witch Part One: The Subversion.
That's a mouthful.
This was a very entertaining movie that starts off with it's sort of like Stranger Things ish, where there's a bunch of exceptional little kids, like 8, 9 year old or whatever, but they've all been like massacred in this like research facility. But one of the patients, shall we say, this
Number
8 year old
11.
girl runs away, and she ends up being found, kind of like Superman, by this older couple who take her in and kind of raise her, and then it jumps 10 years, um, and she doesn't remember her past, etc. And then there's the people that were running the facility her after her, and
Okay.
then they end up through something that she does finding her. But this movie kind of takes a turn towards the end. It's really well done. Some of it's pretty violent. I really probably like. I don't think it's a horror movie. Again, if you look at that first season of like Stranger Things or whatever,
Yeah.
a lot it's more kind of sci-fi. This
Yep.
this this one kind of almost approaches like sort of the John Wick type of thing
Oh,
too, in certain
okay.
areas. But yeah, this is 4 out of 5 for me. I thought this was really good, really well acted, well shot. Takes a little time to get going, but once it does, it's great. And I think what happens towards the end, you're like, oh, okay, it's interesting. So then I watched my first Indian movie. I've never watched
Indian as in native or as in from India?
from India.
Got it. Okay.
I've kind of always stayed away from Indian movies because probably incorrectly I always look at it like Bollywood, and
And some of those are beautiful movies.
I'm not one for the singing and dancing. I'm
No, I'm
just
not even talking about the singing and dancing. I'm talking scenery, costumes. They're beautiful.
yeah, but if half of it is people singing and dancing, I'm not interested. Okay,
You're
so
such a
it's
Puritan.
no, it's just not. It's like I'm not interested in rom coms. I'm just am I a Puritan for not liking rom coms?
Yes.
So what does a Puritan mean to you, Jim?
It means you stick to what you like and that's it.
That's not what a Puritan is.
No, no.
Puritan
I'm not saying Puritan as in the people that came over on the Mayflower.
Puritan means that you are kind of you don't want to watch something because it's morally bad in your
No.
eyes.
I'm saying pure. Pure Puritan. Meaning you stay true to what you like and you don't go outside your wheelhouse.
Well, um, name me as a genre that you don't like.
Not really into spaghetti westerns.
Puritan,
But I still watch Cowboys versus Aliens.
Puritan.
Why?
Oh, I mean, I think this is. Do you read many romantic comedies or romance novels?
No.
Puritan. See what I mean? No, it's just you like what you like, and some stuff just doesn't do it for you. It's
Yeah,
fine.
I get it. I'm just giving you a hard time. So shut up and go on.
So I watched a 2018 movie called, and I'm going to butcher this, Tumbad. T
Too
U
bad.
Tumbad.
Okay.
Tumbad. And this is very much kind of like a morality tale. It reminded me a bit of like Guillermo del Toro stuff,
Okay.
where it's kind of like the fantasy morality tale thing. And it's basically about this myth about this god who is like super greedy and stuff, but rather than kill him, the mother god took him into his womb and said, "Well, you can either live here or you can die." So he just chose to live there. But then it goes to 19, I think, like 1919 or 1916 India, and it's more about, hey, there's this old man and a woman, and she's got two kids, and I guess he's her husband. But he is some sort of secret that's connected to this initial greedy demigod or whatever it might be. And there's some sort of prize there. And it's all about greed and avarice and how that's destructive. I thought this was pretty good. It was a couple hours long. There is some pretty good effects in it at certain points. Um, yeah, I mean, for my first Indian movie, I gave it 3.5 out of 5. I thought it was good and worth checking out. It was beautifully shot, well acted. It kind of dragged a little bit in certain places, but yeah, good. So finally, we make our way around to. So we were in South Korea. We flew to India, Jim,
Yeah.
and now we're flying over to Turkey with a movie which I started watching a while ago and never finished it for whatever reason. And this is Baskin, 2013 Turkish movie.
Never heard of it.
This is a very well made movie. The start seems very normal, where we follow a group of cops kind of late at night. And they're kind of bullshitting each other and being kind of dicks to people in a restaurant that they're going to. Um, and then things kind of go very surreal
Okay.
towards the end. Uh, and some of it's pretty brutal, torture pornish, because I know you love that term, torture porn.
Oh yeah, I love it.
But it really does go into. I'm guessing the director was influenced by people like Clive Barker. For the end, it's a kind of gates of hell sort of thing. What happens? They have a guy that's kind of a leader of a cult, and this person has some medical disability type thing going on with his face and his body, but he is fantastic in that role. So
Okay.
he looks very unique, but he's got a real screen presence to him. So yeah, definitely check out Baskin too. That's all I got.
That's it. You're done.
I think so. Was that not enough?
I don't feel like it was. So before we jet out, let's remind everybody, Mark, there is a Facebook group, right?
I believe so.
What is the name of that Facebook group?
That would be horror movies and shit.
We also have what a top tic tac
A tick pop?
TikTok.
Oh,
You have a TikTok.
do we have an
Also,
X?
a what?
An X?
We do not have an X,
Oh,
but neither does Elon Musk because Zuckerberg has the trademark for X.
fucking! He changed that fucking bullshit. So I'm on Twitter, but then my like symbol on my phone turned to this fucking X thing. Like,
Yeah, mine updated yesterday
what
too.
a fucking dick. Like everyone's going over to the Threads thing now, anyway. So
Yeah, I mean it's essentially Twitter. It's the Facebook version of Twitter. That's all it is.
fine, but
Um, but anyway,
it's like which fucking billionaire do you hate more?
right. So on top of TikTok, the Facebook group, we also have I also big update, Mark. They're shutting down Stitcher, and we do have some listeners on Stitcher. Like 4% of our audience uses Stitcher. So because Stitcher is going away at the end of August, I have submitted our show to Pandora and SiriusXM.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
For those listening on Stitcher that have made it through our hour and plus of shark nonsense, please make sure to update your subscription.
Well, I did already post it in the group also.
Well, yeah, I saw that too, but we're talking to the people that, Jim, we have a massive audience out there, so not all of them are going to see that post.
Oh, that's true. We do have a massive audience. I would like to say thank you to everybody that does listen because, Mark, do you want to guess? We had just passed our 1 year anniversary.
Yeah, I was
Did you know
thinking
that?
because whenever we first started, I think it was Shark Week, which is why we did kind of the last shark and the mag and stuff.
So, given that, how many times do you think somebody's listened to our podcast?
666 times, Jim.
Incorrect, sir. That would be 718 individual plays for this little show.
Woohoo! Just for us bullshitting.
That's right. And by the way, Sharks in the Water has been surpassed as our number one episode. Halloween 2018 is our number one episode, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we may go back to doing like a couple of movies actual dissection rather than just being lazy.
I did also want to mention, because Mark, you know how international I am, right?
Oh, you're very international.
So I do want to say thank you to our international listeners. We have listeners from the United Kingdom, Spain, Canada, Turkey, New Zealand.
I would do a horrible Australian accent and they ended. Thank
Brazil.
You. Brazil, goal!
Sweden.
Sweden, thank you.
And the Philippines.
I would love to go to the Philippines.
Oh, wait. Malta and Australia also.
Oh, Malta.
We are
island of Malta.
We are all over the world, my friend.
We are going global.
Yes, we are. So thank you to everybody that does listen.
Yes.
Even if you're using a VPN and it's only incorrectly identifying your location. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, it makes us feel special. So
exactly.
Those people using a VPN, can you use a different country every time you listen?
Yes, you can.
That will make our global audience seem larger.
Exactly.
If somebody can do it from Timbuktu, that would be awesome.
Anyway, thanks everybody.
All right. Thanks, everyone.